or you kind of know this. But so one of the most fascinating stories I came across, and Elena Martinez has written about this, and so have some other historians, but Elena, who was at the Bronx Music Heritage Center, is my go-to source for this sort of thing. So, thinking about how many steps backwards to go, right? This is the historian's dilemma.
First,
James, what's that?
First there was light.
Right. James Reese Europe was head of the platoon for World War I called the 369th Battalion or platoon, an all-black platoon of mostly New Yorkers. And he formed a band, 100 musicians were in this band as the official marching band of the 369th. And he was not satisfied with his 100 musicians, mostly from New York and Harlem, so he went to Puerto Rico. And he recruited 18 more musicians, including Rafael Hernandez. Rafael Hernandez would go on to become the most famous songwriter in the first half of the 20th century for songwriter in Spanish. Most famous songs being... we'll come back to that later. Anyway, we'll come back to this. So they're in this band that became the most important, orchestra for syncopated music, for what became jazz. Was not complete according to its conductor James Reese Europe until he had found these Puerto Rican musicians who could play exactly the way he wanted them to. This band then went to the war, and they were not allowed to go to the front lines because the United States did not trust its black battalion to fight on the front lines. So what happened? The French army said, "We'll take them," and then they went and fought and won the Croix de Guerre, right? The highest honor you could win in the French military. In the meantime, one of the sad aspects of this is Puerto Rico at the time was not subject to Jim Crow practices. So the musicians coming from Puerto Rico were immediately all they all became black, if you know what I mean. They became black. I'm putting that in scare quotes to make sure that I'm indicating the complexity and irony around that. When they joined the U.S. Army, it was their first experience of segregation. A number of those musicians, upon returning to New York, became important musicians in a variety of the early jazz orchestras in New York City. Fletcher Henderson's orchestra, Duke Ellington's orchestra, starting in the second half of the 1920s. To the extent that Juan Tisol, who was one of those musicians, composed Caravan, which is one of the jazz classics of jazz classics, right? So where am I in answering your question, Bob?